Well, the temperatures may be sub-zero in Ukraine, but that's not stopped hundreds of protesters from camping out in the capital's main square. For 12 days now, demonstrators have taken to the streets to protest against President Viktor Yanukovych. They're angry over his decision to reject an EU trade pact, and they're calling for his resignation.
We have to block the entire street. The streets behind us also. To be sure that not even one official will get access to the cabinet building.
Demonstrators are angered by the president's 11th hour decision to ditch a deal for closer ties with the European Union.
I'm against the authorities and our criminal president.
The government should resign and a new political and economic life should begin.
On Sunday night, it was Independence Square that had transformed into a campsite. The enormous demonstration quickly deteriorated into violence, with skirmishes breaking out. These are the largest street protests to rock Ukraine since the country's Orange Revolution in 2004.
This was the picket outside the Ukrainian cabinet's office, which effectively prevented the country's leadership getting into their normal place of work. The city's main square, the Maidan, was surrounded by barricades, and the chant was revolution. The president's office was ringed with riot police. From inside those defences, he gave a lengthy interview in which he appealed for calm. Members of the government and the security services and the people on the rallies must all respect the law, he told the interviewers from 4 different TV channels.
Jose Manuel Barroso is ruling out another round of talks on the proposed association agreement or a planned free trade deal, and he's urging Ukrainian authorities to show restraint as those protests continue in Kiev.
This comes as a result of the fact that many Ukrainians see their future in Europe and they are disappointed with the results of the Vilnius summit. But we hope that dialogue will continue, that calm will be respected, and so that we can address these issues in a spirit that is good for Ukraine, for the citizens of Ukraine, and for all of us in Europe.
It was Russian President Vladimir Putin who persuaded Ukraine's government to abandon that EU integration agreement. And Mr. Putin says the protests in Kiev are an attempt to undermine Ukraine's leadership.
In my view, this is an attempt by the opposition to shake the current, and I want to emphasize legitimate authorities in the country. And moreover, what's taking place right now, it's totally not a revolution, but a well-prepared protest that in my view was not prepared for today, but was planned for the presidential election campaign in March, in spring 2015.
Speaking at a UN event in Lima, the organization's Secretary General Ban Ki-moon spoke of his concern.
I appeal to all parties to act with restraint, avoid any further violence, and to uphold the democratic principles of freedom of expression and peaceful assembly.
In Washington, reports of journalists and members of the media being assaulted were described as disturbing.
We call on the government. Violence and intimidation should have no place in today's Ukraine. We continue to support the aspirations of the Ukrainian people to achieve a prosperous European democracy. European integration is the surest course to economic growth and to strengthening Ukraine's democracy.